Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. I am glad to be back in the saddle. Please hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. For those that don't know, the channel was hacked. I had to deal with some things, get it back up and running, and was able to do that. It was my fault. Clicked on a link inside of a PDF, reading things, sample videos, whatever, and there I was. So we are back up and running. I appreciate all the support. I am going to do this video on it is never too late to get your earned benefits. I don't care how old you are, it's never too late. And with that, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. And here's the video, right? Here's the headline I found, and I wanted to share it with you because the headline's pretty amazing. Here it goes. A 103-year-old Alaska veteran is finally getting his benefits 78 years after he was discharged. That's probably got to be like one of the longest. I mean, I've seen a lot of 50-ish year since discharge, claims go through, but 78 years, I think, takes the cake. So I just wanted to read through this. This is, again, it's never too late. Let's jump into it. All right. He had a card from Veterans Affairs, but never realized he could use his status to access free perks, such as health care. So moving on. Anchorage, Alaska, a 103-year-old World War II veteran who has been paying his medical bills out of pocket is finally getting his veterans benefits from the U.S. government after 78 years. All right. So his caretaker says the former U.S. Army medical technician has a card from Veterans Affairs, but he never realized he could use his status to access free perks, such as health care. And I'm not going to call free health care a perk, right? A perk is like you get a national park pass or something like that, right? Or you get your registration fees waived for your vehicle. Health care and disability compensation are by far the two biggest benefits that you could possibly receive from the VA. You don't realize, or maybe you do, how much money it costs for health care. Go look on the marketplace and see if you were to go get health care on your own, how much it would cost. I'm not talking about your employee sponsored, your employer sponsored insurance, because they're kicking in a portion. If you had to go buy it yourself, how much it would cost. And then, oh, by the way, if you got any treatments, if you got any sort of medical care, how much that adds up to. That's why I always say treat your disability compensation claims, all of that, treat it like it's a multi-million-dollar deal, because it is, right? So let's jump back into this. The veteran who goes by the nickname Jigs could use the help to pay for dental, hearing, and vision problems as he embarks on his second century. He was honored last week by family, friends, and patrons at the Alaska Veterans Museum in Anchorage, where he lives with his nephew's family. Melanie Carey, his nephew's wife, has been his caretaker for about a decade, but only recently started helping him pay his medical bills. That's when she realized he was paying out of pocket instead of going to the VA for care. She investigated with the local facility where staff told her he'd never been there. Okay, well, let's fix that. She recalls telling them, I don't think he realized that when you're a veteran that there's benefits to that, she said. I'm trying to catch him up with anything that he needs to get fixed. The veteran was raised in an orphanage and worked on a farm in Norwalk, Connecticut. He tried to join the military with two friends at the outset of World War II, but he wasn't medically eligible because of his vision. His friends were both killed in the attack on Pearl Harbor, the Alaska National Guard said. His second attempt to join the military was approved after the attack on the Hawaii Naval Base, and he served as a surgical technician during the war without going to the combat zone. After the war, he moved to Alaska in 1955. He owned 2 bars in Fairbanks before relocating to Anchorage 10 years later. There, he worked for 2 decades as a bartender at Club Paris, Anchorage's oldest steakhouse. His retirement passions were caring for Millie, his wife of 38 years, who died of cancer in 2003, and training boxers for free in a makeshift ring in his garage. That's pretty cool. The State Office of Veterans Affairs awarded Gigliotti, that's his last name, the Alaska Veterans Honor Medal for securing his benefits. The medal is awarded to Alaska veterans who served honorably in the U.S. Armed Forces during times of peace or war. In the event, this event is a reminder that regardless of how much time has passed since their service, it is never too late for veterans to apply for their benefits, said Verdi Bowen, the agency's director, and I concur. Carrie, that's the niece, said Gigliotti, the veteran, is a humble man and had to be coaxed to attend the ceremony. I bet. I'm like, geez, it's really important that you get this done because there's not a lot of 103-year-old veterans just hanging out, she said. And the reason for this longevity depends on which day you ask him, Carrie said. For the longest time, he always said he just never feels like he's getting old. I just want to go more, he said Tuesday. On other days, the retired bartender quips the secret is you got to have a drink a day. Coming from a former bartender, right? So that concludes it. So here's the big thing. I'm going to give you some little takeaways here with regard to the it's never too late, right? There is no expiration date on your ability to file for your benefits. There's also no limit to the amount of things you claim. The most common entry into the VA healthcare, I guess the most common way into healthcare from the VA is through service connection. Okay, you get service connected for XYZ. Bam, you got ability to get seen by the VA for your healthcare needs. There are other doorways into it. This video is not about that, but I will tell you that the most common way is by way of service connection. So again, there's no deadline, there's no limit on how many times you file, there's no limitations with regard to age. So with that, what does it take to have a successful claim with the VA? The first is the right mindset, okay? VA disability is not solely physical disabilities, okay? It is anything that is diagnosable and chronic in nature. In other words, you can't have a cold, the cold goes away, you're 100% better. It's not how it works. That's not what they're looking for. What they're looking for is a condition that's ongoing. Maybe you have frequent migraines. You get migraines once, twice, 5 times a month, whatever it is. That is a chronic condition, and that could be something that is service connectable, okay? Hiatal hernia, degenerative disc disease, sleep apnea, tinnitus, ringing in the ears, a motor tic where you have kind of the twitch, in your eye or your cheek or whatever, right? Or some sort of a twitchy movement, right? Those things are service connectable. Just to open up your mindset that it's not just I hurt my knee, I lost a limb. It's not just that. It's really literally the whole gamut of anything that's really chronic in nature. So having that right mindset is really important. So now that you know that it's really kind of anything, it's not the common disability that you think about, then you have to think about, okay, well, what's the VA looking for as far as evidence? Well, they need proof that you served during your, proof of service, right? So what is that? Your DD-214. So that gives you a time period, your entry date, your exit date. Now, there's presumptive conditions that I'm not going to talk about in this one, but for the most part, your regular service-connected, non-presumptive conditions, presumptives are much easier to get. Your regular conditions, your time in service creates that window of opportunity, entry date, exit date. The number 2 thing you need is a diagnosis. Self-diagnosing doesn't count. You actually need to go to a doctor, get diagnosed, and be able to provide that diagnosis to the VA with your claim. What else do you need to provide? Well, you need to provide what they call a nexus. That is the link between your condition and your time in service. What the VA is not saying here is they're not saying, show me without a doubt that your condition was caused by the military. That's not what they're saying. Okay, that's really important. Now, if your condition was caused by the military, sure, show them that, and that's easy. But what they're really saying here is, show me that your condition either manifested during your time in service, right? I joined the military. 2 years later, I started getting migraines. I've been getting migraines every month since then, right? So that would be manifesting during your time in service. Can't really say the military caused it. I don't know. They just started happening, right? So show me that your condition manifested during your time in service or is a result of your time in service in some way or fashion, right? Now, there's different versions on how you can prove that. This is just an overview of what they're looking for. Other videos will dive into that. So the three things: time in service, diagnosed condition, and that nexus, the link between your time in service and your condition, right? Connecting those two, showing that it manifested during your time in service or as a result of your time in service. So with that, no time limit, file your claim, not an issue. One of the longest claims that I had from my time in service was about, 18 years or so. After my discharge from the Marine Corps, about 18 years later, I finally went to the doctor, got diagnosed for the condition, and I had a notation of it in my records on a self-attesting form where I checked the box, went and got diagnosed for it 18 years later, and tied it all together and sent it in, and I got service connected for it. Wasn't even diagnosed for it until 18 years after my time in service. I just dealt with it and self-medicated and all that stuff. But luckily for me, I mentioned it in my time in service, so it was on a form during my time in service as part of my nexus, proving that it manifested back then. So with that, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. Have a great one, and remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.